Hello guys. So in this session, we will be discussing one sociology question, and then we will also discuss the answer and the way you need to write that particular answer also, the structure and everything, so that it will give you a clarity on how to approach the answers in sociology. So I'll take up a question and then I'll give you a moment so that you can think, you can frame the answer. Then I'll be discussing the answer with you guys. Okay. So this is the question that we have. So I hope you can see the screen. Write a short note with perspective, Louis Dumont's perspective on the Indian caste system. So this is what you need to write. So take a moment, think about it, and then we will see what can be done. Right? So what you need to do here, basically. So you need to give a basic introduction of Louis Dumont. I hope you know that. You might have attended sessions and you know that. You should be writing about the ideas of caste system, Dumont's ideas on caste system. We should talk about criticism of Dumont's ideas and then give a conclusion, proper conclusion. So with relevance, you need to give the conclusion. Okay. So here, how can we proceed? Now, what could be the introduction that you're going to give? See, guys, you can talk about the lifetime also. In case if you can mention in bracket, it will be great. It will give a professional touch. So Louis Dumont, you can write in bracket 1911 to 1998, who's a French sociologist and anthropologist. So that's how you will introduce, right? So when you give an introduction about a thinker, it is better that you will mention the name, the lifespan, from where, like French sociologist and anthropologist, the background. He presented a unique perspective on Indian caste system through his structuralist framework. So his approach, underline that structuralist framework here, influenced by Levi-Strauss. So that one line captures so much of thing. Now, any question that you're going to get from Louis Dumont, only use this introduction which I've given to you. Everything is covered in this. Okay, so again, you can talk about his view, Dumont view caste system not merely as a social structure, but as an ideological system rooted in the principles of purity and pollution. So, which he argued governed the entire social order of Indian society. So that's how you need to talk about. You can mention underline ideological system, not merely a social structure, but as an ideological system. Underline that. That's very important. And then principles of purity and pollution. Underline that. So this is how you will be writing the introduction. With that, you're conveying that you have the stuff, and then come to his dominant ideas or his ideas about the caste system. You already know, you have attended the session. Most of you attended my session or some other mentors. So of course you should be knowing the fundamental principles. Louis Dumont's explanation on caste system is grounded on certain principles, right? Holism you need to talk about. You need to talk about hierarchy. You need to talk about purity, pollution. You need to talk about caste as an ideology. So these are the dimensions that you need to bring in, right? So holism, if you take, Dumont emphasized the holistic nature of caste, and he asserted that caste is not just a collection of individual identities, but an overarching worldview that influences the thought, behavior, and the relationship in Indian society. So this holistic approach highlights that the caste permeates through each and every aspect of life, from religious practices to everyday social interaction. So that's what you can mention. Since it is 10 marker, this is enough. When it comes to 30 marker, we can change that. Okay. We'll talk about hierarchy. So according to Dumont, Indian society is fundamentally hierarchical, underline that, with different castes occupying distinct position in the social order. So this hierarchy that you can see in terms of, that purity, pollution, binary, the binary opposites, where the Brahmins are seen at the most topmost, they are more pure, and the Dalits are at the bottom, they are the most impure. And in the ladder, you will be, identifying them in terms of purity. The second one is the second most pure, like that it will go, right? That the order on the basis of purity and impurity. You can also talk about that purity pollution concept, right? Dumont's central argument revolves around the ideology of purity and pollution, which he saw as a foundation of caste hierarchy. So more pure is at the top. Ritual purity, in fact, determine the social status of caste. So it's dictating, strict rules about marriage, occupation, and social interaction. So pure will be at the top level when it comes to occupation also. For example, if you see Brahmins, they are the most ritually pure. So they will do that kind of occupation. They hold the highest status. But if you look at Dalits, they are the most impure, and the kind of occupation that they do, that is a manual, menial jobs like, manual scavenging and other things, right? They are attributed to the lowest of the status. You can talk about caste as ideology. So Dumont argued that the caste system operated as a pan-Indian ideology, and that shaped social norms across all regions and groups in India. And he contended that the caste is more than just a functional or economic system. It's an all-encompassing cultural and symbolic framework. So now, what is the criticism of Dumont's ideas? See, first and most important is textual view and cultural bias. we can talk about M. N. Srinivas. So when it comes to M. N. Srinivas, you can say criticize Dumont for relying heavily on ancient religious text, which he termed as textual approach, right? So basically like Indology, right? That's a normal criticism of Indology, and he ignored the dynamics of caste as observed in real life interactions and practices. And if you want, you can also talk about the concept of dominant caste. You can talk about Sanskritization, etc. Then another criticism you can mention is the colonial purpose. You can mention G.S. Ghurye here. So he used, his analysis is basically to perpetuate a colonial narrative. And, you can say Ghurye argued that Dumont's portrayal reinforced the idea that Indian society was inherently unequal, contrasting it with supposedly the egalitarian Western societies. Now, if you see initial Indologists, there were two types: British administrators, British scholars, out of which scholars have seen Indian tradition and culture with great respect and honor. But Indian administrators, those were the initial Indologists. They wanted to highlight the bad picture of India. They consider unequal, orthodox, traditional, because they want to justify their rule in India. So that's what I mean by this criticism. Again, you can talk about overemphasis on ritual purity. So you can talk about T. N. Madan, who rejected the primacy of this purity and pollution as a sole basis of caste hierarchy. And he pointed out contradictions such as, non-vegetarian Brahmins ranking higher than vegetarian Vaishyas. Right. So then you cannot talk about that kind of purity, right? So which again challenges the idea of ritual purity as the determining factor of caste status. Another criticism is neglecting, socio-economic dimensions. Again, there are criticisms that says Dumont overlooked economic, political, and historical dimensions of the caste system, such as its role in resource allocation and labor exploitation, and focusing narrowly on cultural and ideological aspects. So this is how you need to develop your answer. So I hope this is very clear to all of you. But what is the conclusion? So guys, we can say Louis Dumont's structuralist perspective on Indian caste system provide a unique cultural lens, and it's highlighting its ideological basis in the principles of purity and pollution. So his work is widely regarded as an important contribution to the sociological study of caste. But again, it has been criticized for its reliance on textual sources and ignoring the live or living realities, and also potential alignment with the colonial narratives. So still, you talk about a relevance. Dumont's insights remain a valuable framework for understanding the symbolic and hierarchical dimensions of caste, even as they require critical engagement to address their limitations. So this is how you will be framing and developing your answer, and this is going to be the best answer because you are giving a thoughtful, complete, well-rounded answer. Okay, so that's about this session. In case if you like the video, you share it with your friends who are preparing for sociology. And then if you're looking for mentorship or test series or the sociology course, get in touch with us. The details are given in the description. So that's about this session. Thank you so much.